Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to this session focused on SAP Analytics Cloud and Live Data Connect for business objects. My name is Laura Vega, and I'm working in the SAP Analytics Product Management team in Paris, where are also located the technical labs who are developing this feature. So let's start the presentation. According to a study performed by Forrester Consulting 2 years ago, a majority of companies will have a mixed environment of on-premise and cloud solutions for their business intelligence, analytics, and even data management applications. Indeed, IT investments are more and more moving to the cloud for new projects and applications. The main reason for this change is that this new software as a service offering allows IT teams to spend less money and less time on low added value activities such as maintenance or product upgrades, while end users do benefit from functional innovations at a very fast pace. For instance, SAP Analytics Cloud, our analytics tool in the cloud in SAP, is released every quarter with brand new available features, and that is why it is mainly adopted by end users looking for an agile, innovative BI and planning tool. Yet, we also know that on-premise solutions are still predominant in our customer base. With business objects and web intelligence, our customers have built extremely rich universes and web intelligence documents that will serve them for many years and that cannot be lost. This is why we have decided to offer this hybrid possibility to our customers and enable them to work both with their on-prem and cloud resources by bridging these two worlds. What it means for you is that you will be able to reuse from SAC all universes and web intelligence documents built in your BusinessObjects platform. So let's see how it works. So this hybrid configuration is represented in this slide. With SAC first, end users do benefit from continuous innovations and cloud flexibility. When using SAC, you are also using the standard analytics tool embedded in all SAP cloud applications, such as Ariba, Customer Experience, Concur, or SuccessFactors. This ensures an easy adoption of analytics in your company, as end users will get the same experience and interface when analyzing their data in any SAP cloud application. And at the same time, with our hybrid feature, Live Data Connect, you will expand SAC capabilities by reusing business objects developments and connecting directly from SAC to universes and web documents. This means users can also keep on working with their familiar interface, business intelligence platform, and web intelligence for their enterprise reporting and for their massive scheduling or report bursting use cases. So what is exactly SAC Live Connectivity on top of on-premise data sources? This means that SAC uses a live data connectivity when the data remains where it is originally located on its on-prem system. So SAC will connect to that system and retrieve all needed information about the data, such as metadata, like hierarchies, dimensions, variables, and so on, but also security data. When using live connectivity, you directly leverage authorizations as defined in the on-premise system. This means you do not need to recreate any authorization access in SAC. As there is no data replication in the cloud, only the data needed to be displayed in your dashboard will be loaded in your browser. Every time you will open a dashboard built with live data, the story will be refreshed with the data coming from the source. So as you can see in the left, this live connectivity is available for all SAP sources like HANA, S4HANA, BW, BPC, and of course also for BusinessObjects universes and web documents with Live Data Connect. So in the next slide, you can see here is a simplified view of the architecture for SAC connected to BusinessObjects platform on the right. In the same way as SAC connects to BW or HANA on-prem, SAC can connect to BusinessObjects data either through the universes, either through the web intelligence documents. Note that with this solution, you can keep all your existing on-premise data sources, whatever database you may use. You will directly connect to them through your universe connectivity. This means you are able to connect from SAC to any relational database that is supported by BuBG Universe's connectivities. Let's go now to a more detailed view of the architecture. So to use Live Data Connect for BuBG in SAC, you only need to install LDC add-on on top of your BOE system. This add-on is a BuBG component that can be easily downloaded from the SAP Marketplace. With Live Data Connect 3.0 released this summer, we have extremely simplified the installation and configuration steps needed to install LDC. All the configuration parameters are now centralized in one place, and this makes the process very easy and smooth. Once installed, 3 Live Data Connect services are provided to SAC. The first one is the catalog service. With this, from SAC, we'll be able to list all universes and documents available in BuBG system. So once you have selected a universe or a WebI document, the metadata service will retrieve the artifact metadata, can be dimensions, measures, hierarchies, and so on. And then the query service with the query builder will enable you to create your model in SAC. You will see that this query builder is very similar to your WebI query panel. This makes LDC very easy to use for existing web intelligence end users. Regarding supporting configurations, LDC works on top of BusinessObjects 4.2, Service Pack 7 and more, and also, of course, on top of BI 4.3. It supports both formats of relational universes, UNV and UNX, and of course, all WebI documents. So you can note that it does not support the OLAP universes. So regarding universes, what are exactly universes? Here we're going to see as a reminder, because I guess you know already what it is, but as you know, universes are a semantic layer that hides the database schema complexity to the end users. We have thousands of our customers have built universes and use BusinessObjects to build their reports without having to know any SQL. You can now leverage not only this user-friendly semantic layer in SAC, but also the security defined in your universes. Because when using Live Data Connect data in SAC, end users creating a story will only have access to the data they are allowed to see as defined in the BuBG system. All securities are applied wherever they have been defined in BuBG. So it could be on the universe itself with specific filters, or at the raw security level, or in the CMS with specific overrides. This is because each user in SAC is connecting to BuBG system with his own BuBG credentials, and thus the data processing performed by BuBG uses the user security rights of the BuBG system. Once again, this means you don't need to recreate any security authorizations when accessing BuBG from SAC. And to finish, end users can explore the data in SAC stories in a self-service mode, as they don't need to create a query as in web intelligence. They just need to open the shared model and analyze their data in the story as they like. But you will see this much better in the coming demo. So let's focus now on LDC for universes. So as I've said before, with LDC for universes, you can connect very easily to BuBG universes from SAC, build a model using the query builder, and then share it with SAC users. The synergy between SAC and BIP is also present at authentication level, as we support single sign-on from SAC to BIP. This means SAC users do not need to enter their credentials every time they are accessing BuBG data from SAC. With the single sign-on method and using the SAP Cloud Platform Identity Provider technology, there is no extra login pop-up displayed to the users. So once universe data is available in SAC, you can go beyond this capability and add calculations using specific SAC features on top of universe data. Of course, you can also use all analytics features available in SAC, such as all the chart types, the linked analysis between the charts, conditional formatting, ranking, sorts, and so on. This is really offering to all users a true combination of the best world from each of both products. This is now the detailed workflow you will follow when using Live Data Connect on top of a universe. So after selecting the universe you want to use, you will open the query builder. It will list on the left all available objects in the universe, so the dimensions, the measures, the attributes, all classified in their classes, and you will be able to design your model as a query. Of course, you can set the result objects, but also some filters, sorts, and ranking. When designing this query and running it, you are not retrieving the data in SAC yet. You are only defining the model metadata, which will be stored in the model and then reused in the stories to show available dimensions and measures to the end users. Once shared, this model will be available to end users to create their dashboards in a self-service mode. Only when they will use that model in the story to build a visualization or a table, then only the needed data for that specific visualization will be retrieved and loaded in their browser. So the data needed for the visualization is transformed into a query definition by the model. This query definition is in turn sent to the Live Data Connect component installed on your BusinessObjects system. The query execution and the data processing are performed by Webby components, so SQL generation and data provider generation. And then the results of the query are sent back to your browser to be displayed in the story visualization. So this process ensures you get the same results when doing the same query in SAC or in Web Intelligence, as in fact, it is Web Intelligence which is performing the job behind the scenes. So let's look now at our latest feature delivered in Live Data Connect, which is the access to Web Intelligence documents. This feature was released in LDC 3.1, which was our latest release delivered in September this year. As a reminder, new Live Data Connect releases are delivered every quarter with the same rhythm as SAP Analytics Cloud waves. So using Webby documents with Live Data Connect is really the same workflow as universes, and you will also see this in the demo. But instead of a universe, of course, you will select a Webby document and then build your model on top of the Webby document data model. So the data, what is the document data model? In fact, it contains all available objects in the document. It is the totality of the data providers present in the Webby document. This means all the objects coming from the queries, but also all the variables built within the document. It also means that you can use multi-query documents, synchronize data providers, and merge dimensions. You will see all that metadata in the query builder of SAC in a very simple way and be able to use any of these objects to build the SAC model. So this is quite powerful, as you will be able to reuse even very complex calculations you can sometimes perform, as you know, with Web Intelligence variables, and that you cannot build in the universes sometimes, or even in SAC yet. So let's look now at the demo, where you will see in action how to connect to universes and Webby documents from SAC. So let's go now to the demo and see how Live Data Connect works currently in SAP Analytics Cloud. First thing I'm going to show you is the connection you have to create at first in order to connect to your BusinessObjects system. So here I'm going to use a connection that I have already created on top of my BusinessObjects system. Here it is. And if I edit the connection, you will see so that when you create a connection, you just need to give a name and a description, and then the host of your BusinessObjects system with the port, and that's it. Also, of course, you can select an authentication method. Here for my demonstration, I have chosen username and password, but of course, when you are in a production environment, you will use a SAML SSO so that your end users do not need to log in every time they are connecting to their budget system, universe, or web document from SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, so once the connection is built, first thing to do is to create a model. A model in SAC is a kind of universe, if you want, that can be shared afterwards among several users so that can use it to build their stories and dashboards. So here I will use a live data connection on top of the SAP Universe connection, which would be my LDC connection I have just shown you. And if I click here on the list of values, I will get the list of all available universes on my budget system and all available Webby documents that I can access from SAC. Of course, all Webby documents of my budget system are not visible here. If you want them to appear in this list, you have to put them in a specific category in your Webby system so that they are visible here. Otherwise, you may end up with hundreds or thousands of documents here that you may not want to get here. So first, I will start with the model built on top of a universe. We'll take this warehouse universe. And so you can see that we get now a query builder, which looks like a lot like a query panel in Web Intelligence. On the left, you have all the objects available in the universe. So I will select here some objects for my model. Let's take customer, let's take sales manager, let's take some product information like the product and the category, and to do some analysis we will look at some measures like discount, gross sales, cost of sales, and maybe net sales. All right, I could set some filters, of course, also in this query definition, but here I will do a model without any filters. Click OK, and here SAC is building the model, so I'm not retrieving at all any data. I'm just creating the metadata of my model, so telling that I have 4 measures in my model and the dimensions I have selected in the query builder. So now I just need to save my model. Let's call it warehouse model. And now if I share it with other users of the SAC system, they will be able to use this model as many times as they want to build their own stories and dashboards. So let's go and create a story. Create a canvas page. And you see, I just need to select the model I have just created and I get to my story with a blank chart. Here I'm going to create a bar chart. Let's add a measure. So you see I can have here, I have the 4 measures of my model. Let's select, for instance, gross sales and net sales. And as a dimension, I will analyze this by category. So you see here you get a nice bar chart with comparison, and if you wish you can use all SAC features on the charts. Let's sort here our net sales from highest to lowest so we can know which categories are best sold. Let's add now another chart. For instance, we change the chart type and take a bubble chart this time and try to analyze performance of my sales managers around their sales. So on the x-axis, I will look at the cost of sales, compare it to the net sales. The size of the bubble will be proportional to the gross sales. And I want to analyze this by sales manager. Already get a bubble chart. I can also give a color to the bubbles. Here the color will be dependent on the value of the discount measure. All right. So I get here a nice bubble chart telling me that yes, cost of sales and net sales are really proportional. By sales manager, I get values, and I can see that also that there is a gap here of some range where sales are not at all represented. All right, so now I'm going to show you in the data view. This is the Explorer mode, let's say, of SAP Analytics Cloud. You can explore your data using these facets here very easily. Let's look, for instance, if I want to see by category the cost of sales, I get a chart by default, but here I would like to use a table and to see all the measures of my model in this table so that I have a holistic view of my cells in this table. Now that it's ready, I would like to add this table directly to my story, so I just need to go here and copy it to my current page. And so now I have my table available. You see I have created it very quickly. And now I would like to analyze my cost of sales in a deeper way. So for me, cost of sales is a good measure, but it's not really precise enough. So I'm going to create another calculated measure here that I will call total cost, and which will be the sum of my cost of sales added to my discount, so that I have a more precise calculation of my total costs. All right, here it is done. I save it. And now if I go to my table, I can go and add this new calculation in my table. So you can see it here now as a new column. And to better understand which categories have a good or a bad total cost, I'm going to create here a threshold, or also called a conditional formatting, on this column. So let's go here and let's say that if my total cost is below 100 million, then everything is fine. Let's say that between 100 million and 200 million, well, we are in the warning zone, and otherwise above 200 million, it's a critical area. Let's apply this, and now you can see now these nice little icons are visible next to the values of my column. I can also go on the column itself to sort my column, and let's say descending to get first the critical categories first. All right, so my story is finished. I have analyzed, as you have seen, data on top of a universe in BuzzG. I'm going to save my story because I'm going to need it for further analysis. Let's call it warehouse story. And now we are going to see how I can access data on top of a Webby document. So before I show you how to access a Webby document from SAC, I would like to show you this Webby document in Web Intelligence so that you understand how it has been built and what we are going to retrieve within SAC. So let's go to the BI Launchpad, and this is where I have my document I will access from SAC. I will open it. This document is very simple. I just want to show you how the Webby data model is organized for this document. So if I go and show you all the objects of the document, you will see that I have first all the objects of my queries. This is a document built on top of two different queries. So I have query 1 and query 2. I have a synchronized product ID dimension of query 1 and query 2. So I have one merged dimension called product ID. Then I have the measures coming from my queries, and I have two variables. So these are two calculations I have performed within the Webby document.
So this is to understand how in SAC we are going to retrieve merge dimensions, measures, but also, of course, variables in a very transparent way. This document has been set in specific categories. This is a category you can decide in the configuration file to give the name you want. Here it's called a look, and you see all the documents you put in this specific category will appear in SAC when you access them through the LDC connection. So let's go back to SAP Analytics Cloud now and use this Webby document as a source. So once again, I will go and create a new model. It's the same workflow as for the universe, but this time, instead of selecting a universe, I will select, of course, the Webby document I have just shown you. Clicking OK, you retrieve the same query builder, so it's very easy to learn how to use this access. And you can see here all the objects are a flat list, and you don't see any difference between the measures or the variables I have built in my Webby document. So for the end users, it's very simple to reuse, even extremely, as you know, complex calculations you can build in Web Intelligence. So let's take here a very simple model. I will take the product ID merge dimension. So you see that it's really managed as any other dimension, and that I'm working here in reality with two blended data providers without even knowing it. I will select the line and the product, and then I will show you that if I can take the variables I have built in Web Intelligence, they just work as standard measures. Let's click OK. And save this model. Model. Good, so I will go back to the story we have previously created. And I'm going to add in this story, data coming from this new Webby document. So I'm going to go to the data tab and say that I want to add new data in this story coming from an existing model that I've just created. And you see, I can see now all the dimensions and measures coming from this model. So I just need to select my good, and if I want to see number of customers by product, then I have my calculations are performed by Web Intelligence, of course, and retrieved here in a live mode in the document. So now I can copy it to a new page, and so you see I am mixing in the same story data coming from a universe and data coming from a Webby document. So this was the end of my demonstration. Thanks a lot, and we will go on with the presentation.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the demo. Now that you have seen the current capabilities of Live Data Connect, let's have a look at the roadmap and which enhancements are planned. So there are three main features categories in Live Data Connect. The first one is the set of analytics features which are available in SAC stories when using live connections. So many of these features are already available for Live Data Connect stories, but as you can see, we still need to implement some of them. So for instance, filters on measure will be done in Q4 this year. Calculated dimensions and variance will be released in Q1 2021. Later on in the future, we will be adding other analytics capabilities such as link dimensions and blending, smart insights, and smart discovery. The second category is the query builder area and the capacity to reuse all metadata coming from universes and documents. For instance, the navigation path in Webby documents will be supported in Q4 with the ability to drill down in the SAC story. And all app hierarchies will be leveraged in Q1 2021 with the expand collapse levels capacity. And more complex features, such as combined queries or View SQL, will come later, also in the future. And to finish, the last category is around configuration and administration. So we'll have some audit enhancements released in Q4 with more action captures in the audits at the BO system level. And in Q4, we will also improve the proxy customization. Then we will also get the support for SAML 3, which is planned later on in 2021. So that was for the roadmap. And so just to finish with a few takeaways, I would like to conclude this session maybe with three main things you could remember from the session. So the first one is that with Live Data Connect, you will get a true hybrid experience and bridge very tightly your SAP BusinessObjects Enterprise system with SAP Analytics Cloud. As you have seen, this will enable you to leverage a lot of investments you have done by creating your universes and your Webby documents, which we know are sometimes very complex and very long to build. And then, of course, you keep all these exchanges between your SAP BOE on-prem system and your browser within your trusted network, which means because we do not replicate the data in the cloud, you have all your security on your data, which is preserved. So that's it. You have here a few links to go to for more information on the documentation, some blog posts and wiki to help you know a bit more about this feature. Okay, so thanks a lot for attending this session. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write me. You have here my email address, and I will say you goodbye. Take care.